Good evening, I am Coach Esplancer of the Dallas Staryu, and I'm going to bring you a little draft analysis for the Pokemon Masters Cup Season 2, which is starting very soon. You should definitely check it out. All the information you need to know will be down in the description below. So, most people go into a lot of detail in their draft analyses and end up with hour-long videos. I'm not going to do that because one, I don't want to spoil my bag of tricks early in the season, and two, I'm just going to talk about really the progression of the draft. I don't want to give up any of my sets or anything like that. So, we're going to start with the theme. The theme of this draft was bulky offense. I want Pokemon that are very bulky, can take a hit, but can also pack a wallop right back. So that is how I built my team. But at the same time, I wanted versatility, and I wanted plenty of utility. I am known for running very tricky sets, and I need the flexibility to be able to do that. So that is the theme of my draft. And I think I did pretty well. It wasn't quite perfect, not quite the draft I wanted, but, you know, snipes happen. So let's get into my first pick. So, before the season even really started, the first 4 picks were actually already determined. So I pretty much had my own dibs on what I wanted, and it came down between Mew and Kyurem Black. And I decided to go with Mew because I was going to have a pretty hard time making a team with Kyurem Black that actually followed the theme that I wanted. Kyurem Black is a very great Pokemon, very offensive, it's got decent bulk as well, but I'm also trying to balance my weaknesses, and with the Pokemon I wanted to draft, I could not make it work with Kyurem Black. So I let Hand and Hydreigons have that, that's fine. I really was going to draft it. I went with Mew instead, because Mew, it's considered one of the best mons in the format. Very versatile. I mean, after all, it learns every TM, HM, and move tutor move in the game. So there's a lot of different things it can do. There's drawbacks too. For example, the base 100 in every stat means it's not going to hit as hard as a dedicated offensive Pokemon. However, this thing right here, I'll run a lot of cool stuff on it. Believe me, just keep on watching. I'm going to use this Mew to its fullest. But for my second pick, I really wanted Florges, but somebody decided to take it in the very first round because Florges was going to fit into my Dragon Fairy Steel Core, so I took the next best thing. And that next best thing is, of course, Togekiss. Togekiss is a fantastic Pokemon, very bulky, especially. And it can actually run quite a few things as well. There's Paraflinch, that's always an option, but you also have a great ability in Super Luck. That could come in handy to increase my critical hit rate. Never know. It's got fantastic coverage, and it can be ran offensively or defensively. I can run a Scarf, a lot of different things, but Togekiss is going to be an integral part of my team, I believe. It really fits into one of the cores that I've been building. Now, my pick comes up again, and this was a pretty safe pick for me, but I did want Gliscor because of the core that I was building. I wanted something that was immune to both ground and to electric, and Gliscor really fits the bill. It's also another baton passer. You'll notice Mew and Togekiss are baton passers, so is Gliscor. Gliscor is going to help me baton pass speed when I want to into some of my slower but very powerful offensive threats. It can also be used as a tank, and I can use it offensively. Not very many people use it offensively, but it can be used offensively. I am absolutely happy to have Gliscor. 2 fantastic abilities in Toxic Orb and also Hyper Cutter. I think it's going to shine on the Dallas Staryu squad. Next up, I have yet another Baton Passer. Now, I should mention that Baton Pass Clause is in effect in the Pokemon Masters Cup. However, that is limited to I just cannot pass speed plus stats. I can pass speed plus sub, speed plus special, things. I can pass, I can have as many baton passes as I want too. I can run baton pass on all 4 of the Pokemon that I've shown so far. That is a definite thing. Which that's how it differs from the Smogon baton pass, but Smogon baton pass only 1. But this thing right here with speed boost is going to help my offense tremendously, I believe. Not only that, but I can actually run this pretty offensively as well. Things like Mega Horn pack quite a wallop. And at base 112 speed, there's a lot of things that I outspeed. Scolipede, I think he's going to do very well. I can't wait to use him. It's my first time using Scolipede in the format, and I'm very excited. But next up, I'm going to go on to my Mega, which I decided to go with Mega Agron, which is a staple on bulky offensive teams everywhere. It would have synergized really well with Florges, but it's not so bad with Togekiss either. This thing, very, very bulky, especially defensive. Also with base 140 attack, it can hit quite hard, and it's actually got pretty decent coverage, believe it or not. But not only that, you have a lot of utility. Thunder Wave, Toxic, I can roar things out. I can set up Stealth Rocks on pretty much anything because of a fantastic filter ability, which of course dampers the amount of damage that a super effective hit is going to do. But Mega Agron, I think is going to be very, very fun to use. I can't wait to see how it does. Next up, we have Rosa Raid, which this is the start of a Fire Water Grass core that I built. And Rosa Raid also gives me some more special offense, because I've been kind of lacking. With Technician, Hidden Power will do a lot of damage. It'll do more damage than Rosa Raid's base 80 coverage moves. But there's also Natural Cure, which allows me to soak up statuses and whisk them away by switching out. That could be very useful. It's very diverse move pool. I can run this offensively, and it's got pretty decent bulk. Not the best in the world, but it's got decent bulk, and with moves like Leech Seed, I can tank things pretty well. But yeah, Rosa Raid, Mary Jane, coming for the Dallas Staryu. Another part of my Fire Water Grass core is Chandelier, which is an even harder hitting specially offensive monster. Again, with very good coverage. I mean, this thing gets Psychic, Shadow Ball, and Fire Blast hits everything that's not a Dark type. I can run Energy Ball. It's a fantastic Pokemon. I can do things like Trick Room as well. I can Toxic things. I can trick items onto people. Very, very excited to use this thing. I think Lumiere is going to be fantastic. It's going to be a victory star, I'm sure. But as I moved along, I didn't really get sniped anymore. By this point, my draft was pretty much set to what I was going to do. So the next pick I had was Zoroark. And Zoroark allows me to play mind games because I do love playing mind games. And this is something that's it's a mixed offensive Pokemon. I can run it physically or specially. And I can use it as a pivot with U-turn. I can make you think, like, what move do I want to do? I gotta scout for this thing. I don't know what the Zoroark is. But if you're using a Psychic move, then you're going to be punished. But Zoroark, I think, is going to do very well. I got to use it a little bit in the WPF before I had to fold out because I was moving to Japan. But I didn't really use it a whole lot. And I really want to use this to its fullest. There's some really cool sets that I think are going to work out very well, and I'm excited to try them. Moving on, we do have Manectric, and this is my fast electric type. It's a budget one, tier 4. And Volt Switch and Flamethrower is not bad coverage. Granted, I can't do a whole lot to ground types. I can use this as a pivot. It's fast, and it could be useful. There's always Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Ground, Grass, Hidden Power Grass, or things like that if necessary. But Manectric is coming as a part of my Volt Turn core, and Maybe I can use static to paralyze things as well. Volt Absorb as an immunity, and that's my Manectric. That is Bolt. Moving on, the last two picks of my draft, I pretty much knew I was going to get both of them. But there was one other team that had the points to get the other tier 3 free Pokemon that I really wanted. It would have been really bad if I got sniped. I didn't think he was going to snipe it, but I had to take it anyways. And that is Kingdra, which rounds out both my Dragon Fairy Steel Core and my Fire Water Grass Core. And this thing with Swift Swim or Sniper, it can ruin lives. It's another mixed offensive threat. It's got physically offensive moves and specially offensive moves. Especially with Sniper, I can just Draco Meteor all day if I set up a Focus Energy. Man, there's not a whole lot that wants to take that. If you don't have a Fairy, better watch out. But that is Bojack, the Kingdra. And my last one, and the reason why I chose it for last is because there were a lot of fighting types left on the board. But I took the very, very bulky, look at that base 144 HP stat, Hariyama, named Hariyama. I'll make you hit this, Hariyama. Ha, you see what I did there? Mock you hit, Hariyama? Yeah. It's funny. I thought it was funny. But this is another Pokemon that can really soak up hits and pack a wallop back, especially if I'm running things like Sheer Force. But I have Thick Fat, so I can take fire type attacks and ice type attacks, especially having an Assault Vest. Those attacks will do very little. My base 60 defenses aren't really too worrisome because I have so much HP on this thing. It also gets priority in Fake Out and Bullet Punch. Maybe I'll even set up a Belly Drum, who knows? That would be fantastic. And with Pokemon like Scolipede, Gliscor, and Mew, I could probably set that up. But this is my team. This is your PMC Season 2 Dallas Staryu squad. Leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you once the battles start. Be sure you watch my team builders because that's where I'm really going to spill the beans on what I'm thinking. But I am Coach Esplancer, and I am signing out.